Hi everybody, Jeff with All Keys Pro. I'm coming at you late night with a response to last week's video and a little bit of a response to some comments that I had about it. I want to say that I am really grateful for all of the comments and all the views, and maybe especially the comments that from people who didn't agree with me. I feel like we're sort of in this place in the world, and especially in our country, where if we disagree, we don't talk to each other. We just call each other out. And I'm really happy that there's this community, this synth community, this music community, and we can agree to disagree. And I want to say that, I made comments about this company, Behringer, and it was my opinion, it was the way I feel. And I certainly don't expect other people to have that same opinion. And I just think that we all have to do what feels good to us, and what tools we have to acquire, what tools that we feel like are going to help us make music and make the sounds that we have in our head. So I do want to talk a little bit about Behringer, because I feel like it's a little bit, there's some unfinished business here. So I am really not a Behringer hater. I do not like the company. I don't hate Behringer. I really don't hate their products, but I really do not like the company, Behringer. I have a history with the company, which goes way back to even before they were making synthesizers. I owned a commercial studio in Denver for a decade or so, and we were always researching, trying new gear. And in the beginning, money was super tight, so we were trying to save money. I somehow managed to buy a small number of really excellent, great products for my studio. I bought a Grace 802 preamp, a Manley variable mu compressor, an Eventide H3000, and an AMEC big console. So those were huge expenditures for me. I went in debt, and I sold stuff, and I spent my savings, and but I did do that. So this was before Pro Tools. We had a 24-channel ADAT studio. So to add more input channels, we were always looking to supplement the small amount of excellent gear that we did have. So I looked at some of the consumer-oriented companies like Behringer and ART, Presonus, and I ended up getting a compressor, and a tube composer, and an ultra gain mic preamp, and an HA 8000 headphone amp. I also at one point had a Behringer little powered speaker that I took out to my gigs. We tried using these in the studio and almost immediately noticed a huge discrepancy in audio quality. I felt that they were poorly made. It didn't feel good to touch them and turn knobs. They had almost no headroom. They sounded, honestly, they sounded cheap, and they felt crappy. The frequency range was not good. There were none of those glassy, transparent highs that I was used to with the gray stuff. And they had a real boxy low end. It was kind of like a exaggerated low mids. All of them sat unused in my rack except the headphone amp. So at that point, I had grown to totally not trust Behringer, and had an opinion about their products. When I used the headphone amp, which I ended up doing for several years because it was handy, every time I would like squint my eyes and make a face like I had just eaten a sour lemon, and I just hoped the damn thing wouldn't crap out. So then in 2006, Behringer started making synthesizers, and I brought this sort of prejudice of the way I had felt about their gear early on in the earlier 2000s. I brought that opinion into the new life of the company, and they started making synthesizers, and I had absolutely no interest in them. And then I started reading reviews and started, hearing some people that I really respected talk about, hey, this is a new Behringer. It's a new company. They're making really good stuff now. And since 2016, they've made the Poly D, the Neutron, the Model D, the DeepMind, the Monopoly, the ARP 2600, the ARP Odyssey, the Wasp, and others. More stuff to come. And that's an incredible amount of product in 7 years. And as a business, that's a pretty amazing accomplishment, I must say. They managed this by creating their own factory, moving their factory to China, and making their own parts, and they really became self-contained, and it was really a smart and amazing business accomplishment. In the next few years, they bought out several other companies, and they became known as Music Tribe. So they bought out Midas, TC Electronic, Turbo Sound, Clark Technique, Acid Microphones, and Cool Audio. And with their own company, with Behringer, which was also part of Music Tribe, they got a reputation for making clones. And I just want to say, they don't make clones; they make copies. Their synthesizers are not clones. They copy a lot of the circuits, but the form factors are very, very different. I'll just stop right there. The form factors are very different. So they copied Roland, Moog, Sequential, ARP, and they're trying to copy Oberheim. So far, unsuccessfully. So these companies that they copied, they had one thing in common. They had incredible vision and creativity, and they had amazing innovation. And another thing, they inspired us. When a new ARP synthesizer came out, we were inspired and excited, and it changed our music. It caused us to play and compose in certain ways. And that is, I think, why those of us who lived through that time missed that time. And it's a aspect of the company of Behringer that we just don't get. I think the thing that really bothers me the most about Behringer, besides their lack of creativity, their lack of innovation, their lack of vision — they have vision in business, but I don't think they have vision in making instruments. But their business practices are really, I think, deplorable. In the past few years, they have been sued by Mackie, Aphex Systems, BBE, Drummer, Roland, and Peavey. And that's not a short list in 7 years. In 2017, Uli Behringer actually sued Dave Smith Instruments and 20 Gearslutz forum users, and it was an outrageous lawsuit. It was dismissed as a law SLAPP, S-L-A-P-P, which stands for Strategic Lawsuits Against Public Participation. So it was intended to censor and intimidate and silence critics. And they wanted to burden these people with high legal costs of defense until they just abandoned their criticism and opposition. And this lawsuit was thrown out. And then there was the whole Peter Kern Cork Sniffer thing, which I'm not going to get really that into, but it was also deplorable and in really bad taste, and they spent money on this. If you're interested in knowing the details of that, Ben Johnson has an amazing video about all that. His channel is actually amazing. He's a person with a huge amount of knowledge and a huge amount of integrity. So thank you, Ben, for all that you do for the community. So to kind of wrap up, I am not a Behringer hater. I just don't like the company. And because of that, I'm not interested in their products. I don't like their business practices. I don't like the way they treat their competitors. As I said before, their lack of creativity is uninspiring to me. And I want to say that I am not a rich man. I've been a musician my whole life. I was a part-time teacher at the University of Colorado. I didn't make a lot of money doing that. I've managed to be a professional musician most of my life and made a nice, almost a living doing it. And I'm blessed to have done it, and I'm happy to have done it. I don't regret it for a second. But I haven't made tons of money. And so, the Behringer products would have been a way out for me. And there have been times where I've been tempted. As I said in my previous video, I've owned a few of their products. I didn't keep them. But for me, for my happiness and for my music and for what I hear, for the taste of what I hear, that aesthetic, that personal aesthetic, Behringer just didn't cut it for me. So as a result, I own a couple Moogs. I don't own a Mini Moog. I don't own a Moog 1. I have a matriarch and a grandmother, and I love them both dearly. They make tones which just speak the truth to me. And I own a couple of sequential synthesizers, which I also love. I own a Rhodes. I have a piano. I own a B3 organ with a Leslie. And these are things which inspire me to make the music which I hear in my head. And they're the kind of instruments I want to have around me to make the music that I hear. So that doesn't mean it's like that for you or for everyone else. I'm making this video as just a little bit of an explanation of where I'm coming from, and I want to close by saying if Behringer does it for you, if those instruments work for you, if you love that sound, if it helps you make your music, if it inspires you to make your music, then that's what you should do. Please like and subscribe my video, even if you didn't like what I said, because I really, really enjoy this discourse of opinions, and I love all you guys, whether you agree with me or not, because we're all together in loving these instruments and trying to make the best music that we can with these instruments. So that's what we need to keep doing. That's all I got for today. Peace out. Hope to talk to you soon.